For Sentinel.com, this is Ira Winderman with your latest Ask Ira Miami Heat mailbag. Our first question today comes from Jason, who asks, Ira, most likely to have a significant sophomore slump? Anyone? Jason, first, the Heat's only sophomores are Justice Winslow, Josh Richardson, and Briante Weber. And I'm not sure that any of them overachieved to the point during their first year where there could be a discernible drop-off during their second year. I think in the bigger picture, the concern has to be with Hassan Whiteside stepping up to play to his contract and to lift his game, and similarly for Tyler Johnson to lift his game something closer to make you feel comfortable about the contract he received in the offseason. It's those two players, although not technically sophomores, Whiteside and Tyler Johnson, who I think could sort of fit into that sophomore slump concern. Overall on the roster, I think the greatest concern is with Goran Dragic, who finally found his Heat legs during the playoffs, and now looks around, and if Chris Bosh doesn't play, sees a roster arguably no better than the one that he left behind in Phoenix. Considering Dragic has to drive the Heat, it'll be interesting to see what drives Dragic. Our second question comes from Dave, who says, I wish I could be optimistic about the Heat this year, but I'm looking at Chicago, with a brand new backcourt of classy veterans Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo perhaps challenging Cleveland. The loss of Pau Gasol to San Antonio was huge, but with the addition of two standouts, more than makes up for it, if those two old-timers can stay well. Dave, make no mistake, Chicago remains a team the Heat have to target, and for more than just Dwayne Wade going there. If the Heat are committed to a playoff spot, which has been the tone of the rhetoric to this point, then Chicago well could be one of the teams they have to beat out, even if it means beating out Dwayne Wade. To me, top of the East, we're looking at the Cavaliers, the Raptors, and the Celtics, and beyond that, just about every Eastern Conference game figures to matter to the Heat, and matter a lot. And our last question comes from BC in Coral Springs, who says, if Chris Bosh is healthy, what are the chances Eric Spoelstra starts Derek Williams at the 4 in the Luol Deng role, and then brings CB off the bench for more of a half-court offense with the second unit? BC, I would put it this way. If Chris Bosh returns, and that remains a huge if, then the expectation has to be at his salary that he'll be all the way back. And if Chris Bosh is back, you start your lone all-star. The thing about it was, Luol Deng was a defender, an elite defender, something Chris has developed into over the years as well. Not so sure anyone would say as much with Derek Williams, which I think will be a factor into where and when he plays. Those are today's 3 questions. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 more. For SunSentinel.com, I'm Ira Winderman.